Good morning and welcome to Morning Java, brought to you as always by Get Go Cafe and Market. Where right now, Dale, they have the Captain Sandwich 7-inch fish subs. Bring it in, man. That's what I'm talking about. I got some fish stories. I don't really because I don't fish. But let's talk about something that's sort of been stirred amok, especially because baseball's dealing with money. But let's talk about the salary cap in the NFL right now. The salary cap, everyone, Dale, always talking about, is it going to increase? Is it going to decrease? What's the Steelers situation in it? What's your take as far as the progress going forward right now with the Steelers, with the NFL and how they're handling it?
Well, with the Steelers in particular, and this is, of course, what everybody wants to know about with the salary cap. They don't care about other teams. Mm-hmm. But everybody went into this offseason thinking, well, the Steelers have all kinds of money to spend.
Because they had like 16 or something.
But you have to realize that guys get raises, who were on this, guys who are already on your roster. Mm-hmm. Every guy that you resign or you sign to a new contract is pushing somebody who was cheap off your roster in terms of what the salary cap counts. And so the Steelers, while they had $20 million to spent that pretty quickly on the guys that they retained and the guys that they signed. So a big problem that they had this year was the Antonio Brown situation and that $21.2 million that he counts against the salary cap. Next year, that money's off the books.
And that changes up a lot. What's their current situation for 2020? Was it $100 million, $80 million?
They're looking at between $60 and $80 million against the cap. And that's going to change depending on what Ben Roethlisberger's contract is.
Of course.
Some of the guys that they've signed, if you look at the contracts of the guys that they signed, the outside free agents, and even Anthony Chickillo for that matter, these contracts are realistically one-year deals.
Front heavy.
They're very back heavy.
I get what you're saying.
So if you look at the way they're built, the salaries this year in 2019 are very low, and then the base salaries jump considerably in 2020 or 2021 in the case of Steven Nelson. But
the dead money
is not much. If the Steelers decide that they don't like these guys, they want to move on from these guys, they can cut them pretty cheaply.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the situation that Mike Mitchell had when he was in Pittsburgh. He was a guy that if he didn't succeed, it wasn't going to cost them much to get rid of him, which is why they got rid of him. But the Steelers, and you wrote about this last week, the fact that they gave them these contracts, it shows that they're still being team-minded, salary cap-minded, and they are ready to see if these guys don't work, they're ready to reload, and it won't hurt the cap. So Dale, last week Dan and I talked about the signing of Mark Barron, inside linebacker from the Rams, free agent pickup, big move for the Steelers. You and I are at odds, though, about Mark Barron's potential impact for the team and where you think he'll fit in. I think he's a good pickup because he's going to be able to be that guy that can cover tight ends, that can be plugged right in and play successfully within this defense. Where do you see the flaw in my analysis of his play?
Here's my problem with Mark Barron.
All right.
He's going to turn 30 in this season, early in this season. He hasn't gotten any faster since he came into the league. He's
true.
a 4.59 guy.
I thought he ran 4.54. There's a big difference.
4.59 at his pro day. I looked it up. 4.59. He's a big guy. I get that. And he's much bigger now than he was when he came into the league. He's still plenty fast enough to play linebacker in the NFL. My problem is these smaller guys, once they've lost their speed, they've lost a lot of their playing ability. A lot of the things that made them successful or gave them the ability to be successful is now out the window. Whereas if you have a bigger linebacker, he can still be big. He can be a thumper. He can still do those kind of things, like Lawrence Timmons at the end of his career. Even though his speed wasn't what it once was,
he could now be a buck linebacker.
Right, he could do that. So I wonder if Barron still has that speed to do that, because he's also gotten nicked up in each of the last couple of seasons. So while I do believe that he's a better player than John Bostic right now, I don't know that he is the answer. I still think that they need to go into the draft and get a long-term solution for sure at inside linebacker.
See, that's where I agree with you at, is that he is not the end-all, be-all of inside linebacker. They still need to make sure they get a top guy in this draft for his position. I think that where Barron's going to be able to contribute. Now, I noted 2 years ago, I was following him very closely along with Deion Jones, Ryan Shazier, and Telvin Smith. They were of the top cover inside linebackers in the NFL, and that's where I think that he still has the savvy of that veteran that can make smart plays. He's not going to be quick and fast and cover sideline to sideline like what they're going to be expecting out if they get a Devin Bush type of player in this draft, but he is going to be the guy that is going to be better than Bostic, Matakevich, or Vince Williams when asking to drop back into a hook curl zone over the middle of the field and, hey, go get that 6'5" tight end over there. I think that's where he's going to be able to contribute, and he will be able to help plug against the run if the defensive line is keeping him clean.
So, Chris, the owners' meetings are taking place this week where the NFL talks about all the rule changes and those kind of things that it's going to make. If you were in charge, or if you could make a suggestion to the NFL, anything,
cheeseburgers for everybody.
Beyond that, okay. If you could make a suggestion, one thing that you'd like to see changed in the league, what would it be?
If I had to make a suggestion, I really, really liked what the AAF has done with making transparent calls about when a call goes to the booth and you get to see and listen to the official as they deliberate. Okay, well, was this a catch? Was that not a catch? I'd like to see more transparency with the officials, and I've said this on the Final Word a few times, I would like the NFL to invest in making their officials full-time referees. I know that about 20% of them are that right now, but I think if they invested and got more full-time referees, and during the week when they're not at games, they're going to training camps, they're going to practices, they're interacting with players, they're developing relationships, they're knowing who to look out for, I think that would help with a lot of the problems the fans are complaining about every single week about this call or that call. It's not going to put away bad calls, but it is going to help them, I think, develop a better chemistry. What's your thing that you would change?
GPS chips in the ball.
GPS chips in the ball. Okay.
Sensors along the sidelines, and there's no question where the ball should be marked.
That's very fair. I like the scientificness of that. I don't think it's a word, but I'm making it up a word because all words are made up.
Especially yours.